Do you know when unemployment started? Do you know? Do you think the people who were like in the caves और वो पत्थर तोड़ रहे थे और कोई एक कोने में बैठा हुआ था and they were like भाई तू पत्थर क्यों नहीं तोड़ रहा भाई मैं unemployed हूँ.
I
Do you
have
think the
nothing to do.
cavemen were unemployed? भाई हम सब hunting पे जा रहे हैं तू भी आएगा नहीं यार मेरी job छूट गई. That
I think
doesn't
if you were
happen, right?
unemployed, you were killed back then. You were dead back then.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Which is, and I'll come to that key, like still it's still the same thing. And so obviously there was no unemployment back then. uh, what happened with unemployment is when people were farming, if everyone in your village is farming, right, there is no such thing as unemployment, obviously, right? Because you can just go farming. If your father is farming, you can just go farming, or you can just go farm in
That's
someone
true.
else's, or you can just rear someone else's animal. So obviously, under agriculture, no one is unemployed. Probably even in like kingdoms, when it came to kingdoms and all, you could find some job, right? Even like you could like join your father's business. You could like be a part of the nobility.
I mean, all of those things you can still do, but I'm sure there were unemployed people in king times.
No, unemployment started with industrialization. Because suddenly the cities were places where you could do all these new kind of jobs where like you could do go to a factory. So like if you are not employed at one mill, you are looking for a job in another mill, right? So suddenly the government started looking at the people who are not working in a mill as unemployed people, who are actively looking for work in another mill as unemployed people. And suddenly like that is a problem that we have to solve, right? Because there are all these people, because they no more have that kind of a backing where like at least they can do some subsistence farming. They can't do that anymore. Now if you are not, so that is the history of unemployment, that it started with industrialization. And the bad thing about this is that this is something, and I'm not making it up. Of course I'm a communist, and I
Minor
hate
core.
I hate capitalism. But like legit, this is something that Adams guy, I'm forgetting his name, he pointed out.
My dog,
And
Adam
that is
Smith.
Adam Smith guy, and this is also detailed by Keynes, who's like a big economics guy of all these liberal people. And their entire economic system is based on unemployment. The fact is, if you want to increase the returns from your factory, right, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to, so the labor creates a value by creating a product, and you keep the profit as the person who uh, who has the factory, who owns the factory. And the only way you can earn more profit if is like you don't pay the worker. So slowly the worker's salary keeps reducing, and you reach a level where there is like the worker is only paid the minimum wage, right? But like even paying the minimum wage does not really help the guy if the purpose is to constantly keep increasing the profit from the entire operation. So the only way to do it is if you can somehow pay people less than the minimum wage. But the problem is, if you try to pay people less than the minimum wage, then they would simply not work for you. How do you do that then? What you do is you maintain a certain amount of unemployment. You just kick some people out, so that there are some people in the market who are so desperate that they are willing to work for less than minimum wage. And this is capitalism 101. I am not making this up. Keynes says this, Adam Smith says this, all these capitalist guys rely on. And
wow.
Recently when the thing between and is they both do the same thing, is just slightly honest about this nonsense that they do. Both of them are fascist, outright fascist. This is also fascist, but they don't let you know how fascist they are.
What do they keep each fascist?
They were, because people were actually going out and defending and saying that unemployment is good for economy. Yes, it is. The matter of fact is, if you believe in capitalism, desperation of people, hungry people, people dying, people getting involved in dangerous situations because of lack of money, that kind of
That's
poverty and
insane. Yeah.
suffering is important for capitalism. That's the only way capitalism works. And this is also Marxism 101, but like, I'm sorry I had to sneak that in. But she's right.
No, but
The
yeah, that's
reason we have unemployment is suddenly like we want to, privatize everything as if like that is the solution. As if like अगर
yeah, that's
तुम्हारे माँ
definitely
बाप
not the
तुम्हें प्यार नहीं
solution.
करते, इट्स
Everybody
नॉट लाइक कि तुम
thinks,
किसी और के पास चले जाओगे तो तुम्हारे पड़ोसी के माँ बाप तुम्हें प्यार करेंगे. राइट, दैट इज व्हाट प्राइवेटाइजेशन इज इन शॉर्ट. कि हमसे काम नहीं हो रहा, हम किसी और को दे देंगे, वो अच्छा काम करेगा. वाई, वो क्यों अच्छा काम करेगा? Right, they have their own problems to solve and they will raise their kids as shitty as you are raising your kids. So privatization is, that's why, not a solution. The problem is the people, when the government runs a system, even if there is corruption in it, government benefits from running the system because then more number of people are employed in the system. And this is the most direct way to keep unemployment in check, is that you give people jobs. As simple as that. And it's a very easy way to, like,
no,
there
but
is
that's the
nothing
thing about privatization that everybody has a problem with. Actually, take a minute, drink some water. Uh, what people are in support of, at least, is privatization. When I end up speaking to people, it's more about because they don't trust the government already to do the job. Do you know what I mean? Because no matter
yeah,
if you've ever gone to a government office, no matter which government office it is, they are not efficient, even by
yes,
slightest margin.
yes.
And they expect the private companies to like do that shit properly, but that's not how it's gonna work eventually. They might be efficient, but it's not gonna be in your
The
interest
reason
at the end
that
of the day.
that will not happen is a cultural reason. Is that it's the same
Yeah,
people who are
that's
working
true.
in the government who are working in the private. The people have not changed, right? the
But I mean,
the
fear is a great motivation. That's another thing. I mean, they run the risk of being in the unemployment list, right?
Yes, but do we want that kind of desperation for people? Do we want people to suffer? Do we want people to be hungry? Do we want that to be the basis of the progress of this nation? Is that how we want to go ahead with our country? I don't know, man. This is
No,
like
definitely
obviously
not.
a very old discussion, and people choose their own sides on it. And
Yeah.
obviously, we are not solving that problem. This is just an edgy podcast where we say shitty things and listen to nice
But
music
we
played
go
by.
there.
But we go there. We
But
go there.
we
This
go
is
there.
the show where we go there.
Show, and he's gonna talk shit. It's the Bird About Show, and he doesn't know what he's talking about, but it's okay. It's the Bird About Show, and he's a piece of shit. Hey man,
Yeah.